Today, we will talk about the top 10 luxury golf stadium. 10. Muirfield Details, Gullane, Scotland. Architects, Old Tom Morris, 1891/HS Colt, 1925, 7,245 yards, par 71. History, 16-time host of the Open Championship. Muirfield simply oozes pedigree. And restored to the Open Rota after a vote to, finally, admit women as full members. The Honourable Society of Edinburgh Golfers avoided torpedoing its distinguished reputation. Phil Mickelson's triumph at the 2013 edition has this course looming large in the chapters of recent Open lore. Selling point, Muirfield's signature clockwise front 9, counterclockwise back 9 was a unique routine scheme introduced during HS Colt's 1925 redesign. A distinguished Open Championship pedigree, and this singularity make Muirfield one of the finest courses in the Open Rota. 9. Royal Melbourne Golf Club, East. Details, Melbourne, Australia. Architect, Alister Mackenzie, 1926, 6,579 yards, par 71. History, Australia's most distinguished venue. Royal Melbourne has hosted a buffet of Australian Amateur Championships and Australian Opens, 16 to be precise. The course is Australia's oldest and longest continually existing club. Critics often maintain Mackenzie sought to mimic the green space sandiness arrangement of the course's placement in its environment with his greens and surrounding bunkering. Selling point, the finest course in Australia. And Alister Mackenzie gem, Royal Melbourne's bunkering is an example of the height of the art form. Players rave about the variety of unique approach shots and stellar greens at Melbourne's East Course. Ultimately, Royal Melbourne is about the combination of brilliant artists, Mackenzie, working in a new medium, Australia's sandbelt. 8. Oakmont Country Club. Details, Oakmont, Pennsylvania. Architect, Henry Fownes, 1903, 7,254 yards, par 71. History, host venue for last year's U.S. Open debacle / Dustin Johnson's first major win. Oakmont's U.S. Open pedigree is first-rate. Recent restoration work under the watchful eye of Tom Fazio focused on a massive tree removal effort to return Oakmont to its original state. Thus, for the first time in many years, the brilliance of this suburban Pittsburgh track was on full display at the 2016 U.S. Open. Selling point, uniqueness, church pews, massive undulating greens, which are arguably the most difficult in the world. Popular lore maintains that the putting surfaces are actually slowed down for the U.S. Open, if you can believe it. Also, the peculiarity of the Fownes factor. Rather than a notable course architect, the course was laid out by its industrialist founder. An example of an amateur effort exceeding the best work of professionals if we've ever seen one. 7. Royal Dornoch Golf Club, Championship. 14 of 20. Details, Dornoch, Scotland. Architect, Old Tom Morris, 1886, 6,722 yards, par 70. History, not incredibly well known to many in the United States. Old Tom Morris, second finest Scottish golf venue. Dornoch was also, notably, architect Donald Ross' home course. The history of Dornoch, unfortunately, is one of being passed over due to its relative inaccessibility, which unfortunately diminishes its tournament pedigree. Selling point, the font of Ross inspiration, an early Old Tom masterstroke. Royal Dornoch is one of the most stellar links courses in all of Scotland. Thus, it's a shame most golf fans haven't heard of it. Unlike most links venues, however, you can't run the ball onto the greens at Dornoch, as most are elevated, presenting a unique challenge amid the whippy, fickle Scottish winds. 6. Royal County Down Golf Club. 15 of 20. Details, Newcastle, Northern Ireland. Architect, Old Tom Morris, 1889, 7,183 yards, par 71. History, Royal County Down has hosted a bevy of significant competitions, including the British Amateur, Curtis Cup, Walker Cup, Palmer Cup, and the Irish Open 3 times, most recently in 2015. The 4th and 9th holes are a pair of the finest in the world. Selling point. While Old Tom gets the credit, many hands have worked on Royal County Gown over the years. Ultimately, the course's primacy is as much about the sheer beauty of the landscape as it is its layout, which is saying something, since RCV is widely regarded as having one of the best front nines in the world. 5. Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Details: Southampton, New York. Architect: William Flynn, 1931. 6,996 yards. Par 70. History. Most recently, Shinnecock hosted the nightmarish 2004 U.S. Open, won by Radif Goosen. The venue has hosted an addition 3 U.S. Opens in its time, and is slated to host again in 2018. One of the earliest links venues in the U.S., William Flynn's reworking of an original C.B. Macdonald design is the gold standard for course improvements, so much so that the track really hasn't been touched since. Selling point. A gem of New York/New Jersey links design. Shinnecock is the best of breed for a style of course you'll find plenty of in the NY/NG area. The relative recent surge in U.S. Open hosting duties tells you how the USGA, generally good judges of course character, feel about Flynn's Southampton masterpiece. 4. Cypress Point Club. Details: Pebble Beach, California. Architect: Alister, Mackenzie, 1928. 6,524. Par 72. History. Once a part of the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am, the course was ingloriously dropped from the trifecta after refusing to admit a black member in the early 90s. It remains, however, an absolutely glorious collection of golf holes. All Alister Mackenzie had to do was weave the most brilliant routing he could through this staggering property. Fortunately for the golf world, he did just that. Selling point. The ultimate setting. Pardon the crudeness, but just look at this freaking place. Almost otherworldly in its brilliance. Playing golf at Cypress must feel like teeing it up at the shoreline of heaven. The course's unique decision to remain short, just over 6,500 yards, rather than adding length to combat technology, is a fitting statement. Cypress is perfect just the way it is. 3. Augusta National Golf Club. Details: Augusta, Georgia. Architect: Alister Mackenzie/Bobby Jones, 1933. 7,435 yards. Par 72. History. A little tournament called the Masters every April for one. Augusta National is the only course on this list that's a fixture on the major golf calendar every year. Brilliant writers have filled volumes with the history of the course. Thus, attempting to distill that lore into a paragraph is inherently fruitless. Mackenzie and Jones laid the course out in 1933, but the existing track bears little resemblance to that design, having been endlessly reworked by architects like Perry Maxwell, etc. Selling point. The perfectly prepared, painstakingly improved upon home of the Masters. The membership, with their unlimited resources dedicated to the continued pursuit of the perfect golf course, from a certain aesthetic standpoint, having created a paradisiacal golf venue. It's impossible to celebrate Masters history from the course itself when attempting to evaluate ANGC, but that's part of the brilliance. 2. Pine Valley Golf Club. 19 of 20. Details: Pine Valley, New Jersey. Architects: George Crump/H.S. Colt, 1918. 6,999. Par 70. History. Pine Valley doesn't really do the whole hosting big-time tournaments thing, so there's nothing to speak of on that front, other than the curious amateur event, the Crump Cup. The Cup is an amateur competition, which the public can watch. Course founder George Crump tapped some of the best architectural minds of the early 20th century to create this unique island-to-island layout. Selling point: secret, singular brilliance in the Barrens of New Jersey. Pine Valley has something of the look of a desert venue surrounded by pine trees. And if that sounds incredibly cool, that's because it is. Golf Digest's Top 100 rankings said it best. Pine Valley blends all three schools of golf design: penal, heroic, and strategic, throughout the course, oftentimes of a single hole. 1. St Andrews, Old Course. Details: St Andrews, Scotland, 1400s, 6,721, par 72. History: the Old Course has hosted the Open Championship a record 29 times, including most recently in 2015. They've been playing golf on this particular piece of property since the 15th century. Like Augusta National, volumes upon volumes have been written about the Old Course. But its primacy in the world of golf history cannot be approached and will remain forever unsurpassed. Selling point: no single hand has carved this storied masterpiece. The birthplace of the game, the Old Course has pedigree in spades. Its massive rolling greens, cavernous bunkers, blind shots, the peculiar road bowl all add up to a brilliant layout. Uniquely variable and weather-dependent, all course design either imitates the Old Course or refutes it. Thus, it remains the touchstone for every other course on this list. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.